Hi y'all. So I got my book, the one that I told you guys about, The Story of Us. Hopefully you guys got a chance to get it too, so we can read it together. It's really cute. The cover is cute. I looked at the chapter and it's cute. As far as how the page look, I hope it's a good read. I don't know about the point of views, how it goes, whether there's more than one. I'm not sure. I discovered the book because I was it popped up on TikTok. I knew I was gonna have to read something after betting on you, so still on my sleeve. So I read a page from that and I was like, oh, it's so cute, so I got it. So let's get started. So it says, Prologue, Violet, 6 years ago. You can still change your mind. So let's get started. Mom has said this multiple times on the drive here, but as we approach the iron gates to the school, this is the first time I've actually considered it. When the old building finally comes into view, it hits me that I'm going to a boarding school nearly an hour away from the only place I've ever called home. She slows down as we pass through the gates and reaches the car park, looking left and right to find an empty space amongst the hubbub of slamming car doors and parents fussing over their children. We finally park up in a quiet corner, choosing to walk a further distance to the school instead of clamoring for a closer spot. When it takes her a few tries to get into the spot, I start to think that my mom might be as nervous as I am about this whole thing. When I first told her I wanted to go to Coates Academy, of course, she was hesitant. It's always been just the two of us for the past 10 years, and she's been protective of me the whole time, but there's always been a little voice in the back of my mind that dreams of escaping, and I can't help but think it's one of the only traits I got from my dad, who did the same thing. I don't have any memories of him because he left before I even turned 1. I wouldn't change my relationship with my mom for the world, but as I've gotten older, I wanted more freedom and independence, and boarding school seemed like the right place for that. It took a couple of months to wear her down, but eventually she gave in, and that's how we ended up here now, sitting in the car facing the place I'll call home for the next 7 years. I want to go here. I think it'll be a good place for me, I tell her as she turns to face me. We're a mirror image of each other with matching long hair, mine a slightly lighter brown than hers, and dark brown eyes. There are more lines on her face though, deep smile lines that are permanently etched there, and a few on her forehead too. My skin tone is slightly lighter than hers on account of my dad being white, but there's no doubt that I'm her daughter. She takes my hand in hers and squeezes it 3 times, something she's done ever since I can remember, and I do the same to her. It's become our silent way of checking in with each other, 3 to ask and 3 to confirm. Okay, Mary Jane. Her free hand comes up to stroke my hair, knocking the little butterfly clips she put in earlier out of place, but fixing them before leaning forward to kiss my forehead. Let's go in then. After collecting my schedule and other paperwork from the office, Mom stayed to help me set up my room, and we're nearly finished. We put the sheets on a single bed together and then organize the rest of my things. I line up the books on my shelf above the desk as Mom clatters around in the en-suite bathroom, placing my toiletries in the shower and above the small shelf on the sink that sits under a mirror. I sit on the bed as I wait for her to finish up, and as I look around the small room that will be mine for the next few years, I have to hold back tears. I wanted this, still want this, but really seems to finally be hitting me. I don't want my mom to go, "Your bathroom is all done, Mary Jane." I wonder if her name is Mary Jane. It's like Meri, then it's J.A.M, so I'm gonna keep saying Mary Jane. She exits the bathroom and comes to sit next to me, wringing her hands together. I place mine over hers to stop her, tangling our fingers together instead and squeezing 3 times. She squeezes back, and when I look at her face, I can see she's trying not to cry too. "I'll call you every day, Mom." "I know, but I'll still miss you." "I'll miss you too." We don't speak for a while, our hands folding together as we try to process what this moment means. We've never been apart, and I know we're both holding out until we're alone to break down. Thank you for letting me do this. Of course, Mary Jane. I'll always support you. She kisses the side of my head, and I lean on her for a second, soaking up her familiar smell before she leaves. She stands without saying, and I copy her, wrapping my arm around her waist as hers comes around my shoulder. We leave the room to go to her car, and when she gets in and closes the door behind her, I can feel the lump in my in my throat growing bigger. She rolls the window down, taking my hand in hers once again, and we squeeze 3 times. I love you, she says, and I can see the glassiness in her eyes. I love you too. She gives me a tight-lipped smile before pulling out and driving away. I'm guessing we're going to another scene because they like these little glasses in a big space. When I get back to my room, I sit on my bed and I cry. It feels like all the emotions I've been holding in while she was here are flooding out, a combination of nerves and excitement that has me completely overwhelmed. The fact that I won't see her every day feels strange, and I had to push away the thoughts of calling her and asking her to come back and get me. First of all, why is my eyes watering? Am I that much of a sap? Okay. This is just what, page 4? Okay, I'm sorry. My stomach rumbles, and when I check the time, I realize I've missed the opening dinner for new students. If I go now, I might be able to... I need to wipe my eyes. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. If I go now, I might be able to get some of the leftovers. So I wash my face and hope that no one will be able to tell I've been crying. As soon as I leave my room, a girl my height with short blonde hair drifts past me to the room next to mine. She enters it before popping her head out just a second later. Hi, she says, moving out of her room and coming towards me. Hey, my voice comes out a little hoarse from the crying, but I clear my throat and she pretends not to notice. I'm Avery. Is that your room? Yeah, I'm Violet. I missed dinner, so I was going to try and find something to eat. You're in luck. I grabbed some pizza to have later, but you can eat it if you want. She gestures towards her room, telling me to follow her, and I do. I glance around her room and see she hasn't decorated much either. It's the same layout as mine, but flipped, with our beds on the opposite walls and the bathroom on the same one. Avery goes to her desk and picks up a napkin with 2 slices of pizza on it, handing it to me with a smile. I take it from her as I sit on the chair near her desk, and she takes a place opposite me on her bed. Were you crying? She asks right as I bite down on the slice. I chew quickly, trying to think of a lie to tell her, but she just smiles at me. It's okay, I cried too. I'll probably cry again tonight. I stifle a laugh at how straightforward she's being, but it settles me too. Yeah, that's why I missed dinner. I hold the pizza up. Thank you for this. Don't worry about it. I have a whole drawer full of snacks, so you can come here whenever you're hungry. I don't have snacks, but I have books. I offer, wanting to give her something in return for her kindness. What kind of books? I tell her about the small collection I brought from home, and we spend the rest of the evening getting to know each other. When I get back to my room, I find comfort in the realization that I've just made my first friend. Next scene. It hasn't even been 48 hours since my mom left, but she's already called me maybe 30 times. I'm walking towards the classroom where I'll have homeroom for the next few years when I feel my phone vibrate in my blazer pocket. I don't answer it. All my attention is focused on making sure I find the right classroom. I make my way through the corridors, checking signs that have been aimed at new students to help them navigate and finally find the room. My phone continues to vibrate in my pocket, and I take it out with a sigh, leaning against the wall opposite the room before finally answering it. Mom. It comes out harsher than I intended. I know this has been hard for her, but the constant calls have started to become a headache, and I'm growing tired of constantly being checked up on. Did you find your classroom, Violet? Yes, I'm standing outside it right now. Other students made their way inside, all of us wearing some combination of the uniform. We had a few options of what to wear, either a navy blazer or a sweater with a white shirt and black or navy trousers or skirts to go with it. I settled for the sweater and skirt, liking the simplicity of the uniform compared to the colors I've seen for other schools. A brochure for the school with lime green shirts comes to mind, and I consider myself lucky to have gotten into coats. Okay, and your break is at 10:30, so I'll call you again then. I can hear the worry in her voice, but I know this isn't healthy for either of us. I came here to gain some independence, and I can't do that if she's constantly calling me. You don't have to. I'll call you after school, okay? I fiddle with the hem of my skirt. It's a little too long, reaching nearly past my knees, but I'll grow into it. Through the open doors, I see the kids who will be my classmates for the next few years. They're already starting to talk to each other, little groups forming as they get to know one another, while I'm standing outside on the phone with my mom. Okay, call me then, Mary Jane. I love you. Love you too. Bye. I lean my head against the wall, regretting how I spoke to her, but I know I can't let those constant calls become a regular thing. Taking a deep breath, I push off the wall and enter the classroom I'll sit in every morning for the next year. There are 4 rows of identical light brown desks and black chairs facing the front of the classroom, where a whiteboard displays "Welcome to Coates, Year 7." Tall windows run along one entire side of the room, the early morning sunlight brightening the room enough that the overhead lights haven't been switched on. The other students walk around as they find their seats, but there doesn't seem to be any order to it. I make my way through the gaps in the desk towards the back of the room, taking a seat next to the window. The desk next to mine, claimed one, is empty, so I decided to save it for Avery. I scan the room to see what the other students are doing as I wait for her to arrive. Some are perched on desks with their shoes on the chairs as they talk to the person next to them who is actually sitting on a chair. Some are leaning against the desk, not fully committed to claiming a seat yet as they wait for their friends to enter. A lot of the students all went to the same primary school that isn't too far from here, so coming to Coast was a natural next step for the schooling. My eyes drift back to the door right as Avery enters, blue eyes meeting mine as she smiles at me and makes her way through the desk. First day, and I'm already waking up late. She huffs out a breath of air as she sits down, blonde bangs flying upward before she passes them back down. I don't know why I decided to cut my hair before I came here. It looks cute. There's some fun styles you can do with it too. I can teach you if you want. I would love that. I really like how you did it today. Avery reaches out to touch the 2 small braids decorated with butterfly clips that are tied like a crown at the back of my head. When your hair gets a bit longer, I'll do it like this for you. She smiles and we continue chatting until our attention is drawn to the door by a clapping sound. Hello, Year 7. My name is Mrs. Harper, and I'll be your homeroom teacher for the next year. The smile on her face is bright, her eyes crinkling slightly at the corners as she looks around the room at all of us and goes on to explain more about the school and the rules and expectations she has. Now that boring stuff is out of the way, we're going to do a little icebreaker to get you all moving around and talking to each other. When I say so, I want you all to stand up and mingle with each other, and your goal is to find out each other's birthdays. Avery nudges my arm and whispers hers to me, January 21st. And I commit it to memory as I tell her mine. After you've spoken to a few people, I'd like you to start lining up at the front of the room in order of your birthdays from September to August. This is all just a bit of fun, so don't be nervous about talking to anyone. You're all going to spend the next few years together, so it's good to start getting to know each other. She finishes her explanation and then tells us all to stand up. I get up first, and Avery groans before placing her hands on the desk and pushing herself up. She grumbles under her breath about being tired and that she shouldn't be expected to do physical activity this early in the day. Avery links her arms through mine, and we both look around the classroom to figure out who we can talk to first. She points toward the corner opposite us, where a group of 2 boys and 2 girls are standing, and suggests we go to them first. They're all around the same height, and the 2 boys stand next to each other. One has fair skin, dark brown hair, and round glasses, while the other has dark blonde hair. The two girls are in the front of them. The shortest one has long, light blonde hair, and the other has sleek black hair tied in a ponytail. "Hi, I'm Avery," she says as we approach them, all four of them stopping their conversation and turning to look at us. "And this is Violet." I give them all a small wave, suddenly feeling incredibly awkward. "Hi, when are your birthdays?" I ask, deciding to just get the conversation over and done with. We already know each other's birthdays. We're just waiting for everyone else to start lining up. The blonde girl replies in a monotone voice. She doesn't look too impressed that we've come over to talk to her and her friends, so I start nudging Avery so that we can move on to someone else, but she unlinks our arms. "Don't mind Olivia." The boy with dark hair and glasses steps forward, coming closer to us. He has a smile on his face that doesn't match the rest of his group. I think she's tired this morning. The blonde girl, Olivia, rolls her eyes at his words and stands with her arms crossed, and it seems she's fully intent on not speaking to us anymore than she has to. The boy gives me another quick smile before moving to stand beside me so he can face the rest of the group like we are. I'll introduce us all. You've already met Olivia. She can be a bit rude sometimes when she hasn't slept, but she's usually okay. He points to the girl standing next to her. That's Jenny. She moved here from Korea in year 4 and has been stuck with us ever since. She smiles at us and her hand coming up in a quick wave that we mirror. And next to her, we have Lucas. He leans closer to me, covering his mouth with his hand as he whispers in my ear. He's my best friend, but don't tell him I told you that. He already has a big head. I stifle a laugh as I nod my head. Avery elbows me to find out what he said, but I just shake my head at her. The boy grins at me once more before he goes back to stand with his group, and I can't help but smile back. And last but most certainly not least, I'm Isaac. Lovely to meet you, Violet. The smile is still on his face, and now he's standing right in front of me. I realize he has dimples. "Nice to meet you all." "Thanks, Isaac." He dips his head in a slight nod. "So, when are your birthdays?" Avery's is January 21st, and mine is July 9th. "No way." Isaac steps closer to me. Again, his eyebrows are raised as he points a finger at me. "Mine is July 9th, too. What a fun coincidence. You can just stay next to me then." Olivia is February 19th, Jenny is November 11th, and Lucas is April 21st. He looks to the front of the classroom, and I follow his gaze, seeing that other students have already started lining up. "Shall we go line up?" I ask, and we all start walking to the front of the room to join everyone else. Isaac comes to stand next to me as we make our way forward, and we watch as our friends find their places in line before finding ours. "Wait, what time were you born?" he asks as soon as we get in line. "What?" "One of us has to be older, so the younger one should go in the line first." "Oh, right. I was born at 9. At night, at 9, I think. My mom says it was just after sunset, so I'm probably younger than you." I step around him and move to his left as he moves to my right. "I was born at sunrise," he says, nudging me with his shoulder and grinning. "Sunrise and sunset, another coincidence." "Okay, I think everyone's in order now," Mrs. Harper says before I can reply to Isaac. "I'm sure you've all spoken to each other, but let's go down the line and say our name and birthday so we can check if the order is right." We all do as she says, Isaac and I patiently waiting as we're nearing the end of the line, being 2 of the youngest in the class. Surprisingly, we managed to order ourselves without a mistake, and Mrs. Harper said that it had never happened before, so she was quite proud of us. She tells us to take our seats again, and I catch up with Avery as she gets to the desk before me and sits down, placing her head on the desk. I take the chance while she's not looking to try and catch a glimpse of Isaac again. It was fun talking to him, and it feels special that we have the same birthday. His desk is on the front row near the door to the classroom, so I can only see his profile, but as if he can feel my gaze, he turns around and smiles at me. That was it. That was pretty long, but you see I cried. What is that? What is wrong with me? I like it so far. Hopefully it stays good. It sounds like it's going to be cute. But why did I cry? I'm going to start this out. Okay, y'all, that's it for tonight. That was pretty long, so I need to shut up. Good night, y'all.